All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Call to Care's Paint and Sip. Thank you so much for joining us today. There's so many of you in the room. So just a little bit of context about Call to Care and Paint and Sip. I know all of you have had your paint kits delivered to your door and you probably are all ready to go. But Paint and Sip is actually a fundraiser for Call to Care. Call to Care acts as an intermediary between beneficiaries in need and the public and private sector. And we offer a host of educational programs, from putting in vegetable gardens, life skills training, tech upskilling, robotics, you name it. And Paint and Sip is our primary fundraiser. So not only are you guys painting an absolutely gorgeous piece today, but you are also assisting us to go further. So thank you so much. I want to see you guys give yourself an awkward round of applause and pat on the back. It's really weird when you're in your own space. Right, so about Paint and Sip. And before we get started, I think it's very important to set up your space. So Paint and Sip is a really fun way for you to unleash your creativity, stay present, get away from work, stop thinking about stuff that stresses you out, do stuff that's quite fun. But in order to do that, I think you just need to create a really relaxing ambiance. So I would suggest putting on a little bit of music in the background, maybe getting a cup of tea or a glass of wine. For those that we can actually now have a glass of wine, which is really nice. So yeah, please, when you have a question and when Lily asks if you have any questions, so ultimately she will be walking you through step by step through the painting, and she will give an opportunity to ask questions. Please put your mics on. We actually really love to see your faces, we love to see your pieces, and we love to hear from you. Okay. And throughout the conversation, I'll be having a conversation with Lily, but my camera will be off, and we will also be having a little bit of a conversation about who Lily is and connecting with her. Thank you, Lily. Welcome. That's it from me.
Thanks so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Lily Brannon, and yes, as Alex said, I'll be taking you through the step-by-step. But before we get to that, I just want to check that you have everything that you may need. So what's important is just a jar of water. So this is to rinse your brush out between all the colors, so that you don't get the murky brown colors. So this is very important. And then also lekker lappie, a stoute lappie to just clean your brush on, and that also helps a lot. So if you don't have that just yet, you can pop up and go get that, because what I'm going to do now is there's a whole camera crew flying above my head. But no people. But yeah, so I'm just going to share my screen so that you can actually see what's going on down here in front of me, but you'll also be able to see my face in the little block next to it. I just want to mention, last week there was some people that had a difficulty, for some reason their screen didn't show my the hands where I was working, like my table, and then they just asked me, they only mentioned it later in the thing. So if that's what's going on with you, please let me know as soon as possible, because all I'll do then is just after a step I'll lift it up and I'll show you guys on the front screen. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Please put some music on and just get ready to enjoy yourself. I have also poured myself a glass of wine. So yes, it's painting time. All right. And there we go. So what we've got in front of us here is your box, which is really great to also use as a space to paint on top of. So hopefully you all opened your canvases. If you haven't taken the plastic off your canvas, please do that now. And we're just going to also give you some time to do that as I also take this off and just open my box. All right, so we've got our canvas, and I'm just going to talk you through what's inside of your box. That's your canvas, and this plastic folded up thing over here, this is actually your apron. So this works really well. If you've got lovely clothes on, please pop this on top of your clothes, okay? But if you are not using an apron and you accidentally mess some paint on your clothes, don't worry about it. As soon as you've messed some paint, just grab a wet cloth and wipe it off. Then there will not be any marks. But if you leave it till the end of the session, you might not be able to get that out of your clothes. Okay, and then we've got our booklet, but we'll jump into that a bit later. And you've got your brushes. So I'll be referring to your big, small, and medium brush, all right? And then we've got all our lovely colors here, and we're gonna dive into that a little bit later as well. So you could, oh, another thing that you're gonna need is a palette. So you could use the piece of the box as a palette, meaning where you're gonna mix your colors. Or what I have done is I've just taken a piece of a cardboard box, and I've put some cling wrap over that. This works really well if you are going to do more paintings, you know, because then you just take the top layer of the cling wrap off, and then there's a new clean space to mix on again. So just some future reference there. Okay, now I'm going to open this box. I also used it last time. That's why there's little humans painted in here. So we're just going to open that up. There we go. And we're going to use this as the bottom part of our painting. There we go. And we're going to pop this on there. Okay. What's nice about this is we don't get paint on our lovely table then. So we've got that. And then the palette over there. Right, so I'm going to first page through our booklet over here. I would just like everyone to give me a whoop whoop if you're ready for me to continue. So that means, do you have your water jar? Have you packed it out? Okay. Okay, I heard like 6 whoop whoops, and I think we are, how many people are we today? We're like 15. 50. Oh my goodness, we are 50 people. So I'm gonna just scan through. You guys can give me just show me a thumbs up. I'm gonna scan through your faces here for a moment, just to see that everyone's ready to go. Oh, there's David Nell and his son. Look at you guys. Yay. Okay. I love it when children participate, because I give kids classes on a Tuesday morning, Zoom kids classes. You won't believe these kids are on Zoom. It's crazy. Via, I see you, but I do not see your photo. So it's time to put that camera on. Actually no, Via, he's a friend of mine. Okay, looking good. It seems like everyone's ready. All right, so if you grab your pamphlet there, I'm just going to go back. There we go. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to talk through our steps. The reason for that is we all work at different paces when painting or creating art, you know. So if by any chance, you know, I'm moving too slow for you, feel free to look at the booklet and continue and move on to the next step. And also, if I might be a little bit quick for you, don't worry about it. You've got your booklet to just refer back to the steps before. And you can also ask me just to repeat myself as well. So after each step, I will also give you a moment. I will have a pause and say, are there any questions? So it's really like, yeah, I just want us all, because we're all at different levels with this. So yeah, it will be great if we can all just participate and acknowledge that there's some that work slower and some work faster. Okay. So what we're going to start with is just our background. We're going to do a dark green going up to a light blue, as you can see in your first picture. Then we're going to do some perspective lines. So we're going to draw a horizontal line and 2 perspective lines and add in our tree. So what's important as well is to know where we're going. And this is where we're going. We're going to do a forest with a little path in it, and it's going to be lovely. Trees like that. Okay, so after we've placed our trees, we are going to add our forest floor and the path, and I'll explain how to do that as well, and give our trees some branches and some lovely leaves, and there we go. And we're just going to keep on doing that, and at the end it's going to be a beautiful forest, and we're going to do 2 tiny little people walking in the path. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. It's about 8 steps, and at the beginning you might feel like, oh, slow down, Lily, and I'm so sorry if that is how you feel. I will wait for you. So I sometimes explain a little bit quick, but I do also repeat myself. Okay, is everybody happy? We're gonna start painting now. So what you need is your big brush. All right, I'm gonna grab that. And what we're also gonna start with is some blue, some yellow, and some white. So you can grab those colors along. And then we're just gonna open these up. There we go. Okay, and what you can start doing is mixing a nice light blue.
Maybe just, Lily, sorry, maybe just give the like blobby instructions again, like the ratio instructions.
Oh yes, I'm about to, as I do it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna take a nice big blob of blue and the same amount of white, all right? And we're just gonna like that, and we're just gonna mix them together and see what color comes out there. Okay, there we go. And you'll also notice here that there on your brush, all the colors don't necessarily mix in. So it's important to turn your brush around as you're mixing. Okay, just to get all of your colors in there. All right. And so I feel like this blue is a bit dark because we want to move quite light. So I'm just going to add more white there, and you can actually even start a new puddle and add some more white to that. So there we go, maybe a little bit more. All right, so we're looking for a nice light blue. It needs to remind you of the sky and happy days and beach weather and things like that. Okay, so now we're ready to start. What's fun here is I need you to get your emotions out on the canvas. So you're just gonna go in different directions, up and down and sideways. And it's really important just to mix it up a bit and get that emotion out. Are you feeling joy? Are you feeling frustration? Maybe your boss is driving you crazy and you're just gonna get that out. Or your clients, they're just, oh my goodness, all these maintenance things, oh, and the support. Anyway, so you get that out on your canvas, but also happy thoughts, think happy skies. What you can also do is, what I'm doing here is I'm just adding some more white onto my canvas and I'm mixing that in. And what this does, it gives you a nice dynamic feel onto your canvas. You know, the sky is just flying and it's fantastic. So there we go. We've got some nice brush strokes coming through. And this piece is an expressive piece. So all our mark making will be quite expressive and the brush strokes will be visible. All right, so we're just mixing that in, and you don't have to add too much paint. We are literally just filling in the top part of our canvas. What I also realized is, as you see in the picture here, I would do more blue in that area, and on the sides here we're going to add a bit more green. So now we're going to move over to green. Before I do that, I'm going to recap. So I've just gone down, I've mixed some white and blue together, and I've just placed it on the top area of my canvas. Moving down, I'm a bit further than halfway in the middle area of my canvas. Yeah, so it's about 2/3, but not on the sides here. Okay, so our green, we are going to mix a nice dark green. So it's important to rinse your brush because there's too much white on our brush currently. And we're just going to rinse that off. All right. There we go. And you'll see that the paint tends to get stuck on those sides of your brush, and this is why your lappy is so important. All right, so we just make sure that all of that color is out of the brush. Okay, and now we're going to mix a nice dark green. So we're going to add a big blob of blue and then just a little bit of yellow. So I have about 3 times as much blue as I have yellow. And we're just going to mix that in. Ooh. Okay, that's a bit of a midnight blue, so we need more yellow. There we go. Nice. So nice dark green over there. Okay, lovely. Now we want to start adding this to the bottom. So we're going to start there once again. Different directions, up and down and sideways. And just start placing some green in and work it in there. What you'll realize at this moment is that that paint of the blue that we placed is still a little bit wet, but that's lovely because that's going to help us blend the green into the blue, and that's what you want to be doing. So it'll look something like this, you know. And we start, I'm just going to lift up, there's a bit of a glare there, and we start just blending those two colors into each other. And what's also nice with us working in different directions with our brush is it doesn't really matter if there's, like, you want to see those brush strokes, right? So it doesn't matter if you can. Okay, I need more green down here, so I'm just going to mix some more for myself.
So just a reminder, I am watching everyone. I'm watching you while you paint. The handy thing about Zoom. And I can see that there are a few people that are speedily rushing along, and I'm seeing a few people go, oh my gosh, this is so fast. Don't worry, this is the first step. It has to go a little quicker because we need to get those colors nice and mixed together. But take it at your own pace. We're going to slow down from this point. I am an A-type personality, so I can well empathize with a lot of you in the room that are like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. I'm completely out of my comfort zone. No, this is good stuff. You're okay. You just take it at your own pace.
Yes, I agree. Thanks, Alex. So I tend to be, my art teacher always said to the whole class, guys, just go for it. Like, put all you've got in your art, like, just express. And she got to me and she'd be like, Lily, less is more. So she's like reeling me back, like rooting everyone else on, because I just tend to throw colors down and mix them around. And yes, I like jumping off mountains, you know.
Mine looks like yours, Lily. Mine looks nothing like yours. Mine looks nothing like yours.
What is your name so I can search for you?
Tammy.
Tammy, I'm looking for you. If you could possibly just hold up your artwork, then I'll also see you. Tammy. Oh, there's so many people.
Tammy, I'm not seeing you. Have you got the camera on?
Yeah, am I?
Tammy Strong.
Yeah.
Yes, it's only showing your name and not your camera. So I can't see you at the moment.
Okay. Can you see me now? That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, but maybe explain to me, it's all right if I can't see you, just explain to me what looks different on yours than on mine.
Super green at the bottom and super blue on top. And it's not like faded in like yours.
Are you struggling a bit with the blending?
Nah, I don't know. It's fine. You can continue.
But don't worry about it at all, Tammy, because, you know, like this is just basically a background. And the main reason why we actually do this is to prep our canvas so that there's not like a little white bits coming through everywhere. So instead of that white of the canvas shining through, it'll rather be blue or green. So we're going to basically paint over, as you can see on here, we're going to paint over most of our background. So even if it doesn't look like mine, and I'm sure you're not the only one, there's probably so many people going like, it doesn't look like that, but don't worry about it. It's not going to look like mine. And it's fine. Okay.
This is my second time around, guys, and the first time it didn't look like Lily's, and this time it's looking even less like Lily's, so please don't stress about it.
But try your best. It's going to be fine.
Yes.
That's what I told myself, and now I'm not so sure.
No.
It's really going to be fine. I think I say to all my art students as well, and to all my workshops as well, I always mention it, that we are so, like, from a young age, we are forced into a system that asks from us to deliver a perfect product. You know, we're so product focused, and everything has to be perfect. You know, we have to draw when it comes to the alphabet, when you learn to write, you know, all your letters need to be perfect, and when you start reading, everything needs to be perfect. And there's definitely a space for that. But because most of the things around us in our culture force us into the stream of where everything we deliver, we have a product mindset about it. And with art, it's not like that. It's more about the process and just enjoying yourself and letting whatever mark is inside of you come out on your canvas, because that's what's really beautiful in the end. And it also doesn't matter if anything looks you know, different. Like our art will always look different, and the more different it is, actually to mine, the more authentic you are being about the marks that you are making. So just putting that out there.
So Sam, you are unique, Sam.
Yes.
You're unique. I think you're much like me. Also, I'm not much of an artist, but it's worth a bang.
Okay, so I don't know how everyone's doing. Are we finished with the backgrounds? Maybe you can give me another whoop whoop if you're done with your background.
Or give us a thumbs up. I can see you.
Oh, nice. Awesome. And then what you can also do while we just wait for everyone to finish is you can wave your canvas a little bit just to get it to dry a little bit. Alex actually mentioned this last week What, Alex, tell that story again. There's a lady that made everyone stand up. And
yeah, so when we did our in-person events, oh, and we missed them so much because they were just so amazing. One of the artists made us stand up and do a dance. So I want you to stand up and I want you to do like a jig for me whilst flapping those canvases. Move that body. Oh yeah, I can see Samira. You lovely. Oh, you look good. Who else is moving their body? It's so nice to get up and move.
yeah.
So Lily, while everybody else is finishing off and flapping those canvases away, I thought that we could also use this time to find out a little bit about you and connect with you. So my first question, and I'm sure one from the audience, is tell us a little bit about your art journey. When did you start painting? How many years has it been? I know that you also paint in wine. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah, so I've basically never stopped painting. So I started in kindergarten and I didn't stop. I probably started before kindergarten. My mom's a teacher and she's also really passionate about children and so on. So I think she's always created like a very creative space for me to grow up in. And yes, I've just never stopped. And I actually remember I have this memory. We, when I was in grade 1, we actually immigrated to Australia. And I was there, I didn't really have friends. So I used to every day go sit under these trees. And in the, I would take water and create mud. And in the ground, I would make these landscape artworks every break. So yeah, I've always just created things, and it just went on. And I had art in high school and also in university, and then I studied under a lady called Mary Stander, who's an amazing artist. She really is. And yes, so and that's been my art journey. I started selling artworks in 2010. And then I've also been teaching art for different ages since 2012. And it's been in all mediums, from acrylic, charcoal, oil, wine, ink. And yeah, so that's the art journey. Yes.
Thanks, Lily.
Cool.
Okay, I think most people are ready. Give us a thumbs up if you're ready. Yeah, there's lots of thumbs up there, Lily.
Okay, cool.
Back to you.
All right, so now you are going to use your medium brush. Oops. And let me just find mine. There we go. All right, so you're going to use your medium brush, and as you see, step 2. Over here, we're going to start with our horizontal line in the bottom third of our canvas. So if we were to split our canvas into thirds with 2 lines in the middle there, we are now going to draw a line in the bottom there, and we're going to do 2 diagonal lines coming from the middle down to the corners. Okay, you can do this in pretty much any color that will show. I initially used to use green, but it doesn't show so nicely. So I think what I'm going to do today, see how it goes, is we're going to use some white, or you can even use your light blue. That should show there. But I am just going to use some white. And then what we're going to do is quickly see if that would be the first line. Over there would be our second line. So we can just do that. And then pull a line down there. So it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. What makes it easier is if you angle your canvas like this, and then kind of just pull the line down, you tend to make it a straighter line. So this is about 4 or 5 fingers. So you'll have, like, if you split your canvas up into 4 or 5 fingers, depending how big your hands are, but round about there, that is where your horizontal line will be. Okay. Now we are, yes?
What size is that brush that you're using? Is it the same brush?
It's the medium brush.
The medium one, okay.
Yes. So your big one is a no-go for now because it's too big. It's not gonna work. So your medium brush. What I'll do is I will place. There we go. I'll place these brushes here so that you guys can also just reference to that as well. Okay, so then in the middle of your canvas, round about there, it's also going to be about 4 or 5 fingers. So give your fingers a little bit of space. Doesn't matter exactly where you put this, but I would just like you to put 2 dots on either sides of your hands, like that. Okay, and then we're going to pull a line from there into your corner. So I'm just going to do that on my right hand side. So I'm going to pull a line like that. And then on my left hand side. So I'm pulling like the line is straight, but it's a diagonal line going from the corner to that dot over there. So what we're doing here is we are creating perspective lines that are going to guide our eyes into the background, all right? And we're going to add trees on top of these that go from bigger trees to smaller trees, all right? So here we go. I'm just going to go through that again in case anyone has missed that. So what we did is we split our canvas into 3, and so then I would have to pull 2 lines, but on the bottom half, that is where I'm going to pull my horizontal line. All right, and then I have 4 fingers in the middle here. I make a dot on either side, and from that dot straight to the corner, I pull a line, and also from the next dot straight into the corner, I pull a line. Okay, is everyone happy with that? Can I have thumbs up? And Alex, will you please check the thumbs up, because I'm full of paint now and I might.
No, there's lots of thumbs up. I'm here, like most, 90%.
Fantastic. So then I'm going to continue onto our trees. So yeah, let's make them. Okay, I'm gonna just taste something. So before you guys actually do it, I want to see how my dark blue is gonna interact with my green that I've painted. Yeah, it ain't great. Okay, we're using white. All right, so we're still going on with our white, and that's going to be the color of our trees for now. We will be making them a different color. It's just so that we see where they should be. And for our first 2 trees, we can use our big brush. So you're going to grab your big brush and get some white on your palette.
Lily, can you just tell those of us who can't remember me how to mix brown, please?
Yes, so you can do it now. I would suggest to add the brown later when I'm adding the blue onto the trees. 'Cause I think the white might just be easier to see at the moment. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I hope it's all right.
Perfect. I'll stop interrupting them.
No, please, no, go ahead. Never stop interrupting. I can still tell you how to mix brown if you feel more comfortable to add the brown now.
No, it's okay. I don't want you to look exactly like the other one.
Oh, but then let me tell you. Okay, so what I'll do, so this is for those that, so later on I'll be making my trees blue, but at that point we will be you can use another option of brown, and I'm just quickly it's Sam, hey? That I'm explaining.
It's guilty as charged.
Yes,
Sorry, guys.
checking. Okay, so for Sam, I'm just going to show how to mix brown now, but I will explain this again later. Okay, so there's a blob of yellow, and then we've got a lesser blob, so maybe like 2 yellows, 1 little blob of blue, like that, and 1 little blob of red. Okay.
Can I please ask that you move it a little to the left because we can't see your blobs.
Sorry, they're over
Your
there.
yellow blobs.
Okay, can you see it now?
We
Is that
can,
enough?
Lily, but
Yep.
maybe just a little bit more. Just maybe like a couple of centimeters more.
Is that all
Your
right?
glass.
That's better. That's much better. Yeah, the wine can just take a corner stand there.
Yeah,
Yes.
please don't drop
Beautiful.
the wine.
Okay, and then we're just mixing that into each other. And what you'll realize is if you're brown, and everyone doesn't have to do this now, but if you want to mix your brown now, you can. So if your brown's a bit green, as mine is, you know, it looks a bit murky, then because we've mixed it, I'm going to show you these colors. We've mixed yellow, blue, and red. So blue and yellow gives you green. Therefore, if your brown is too green, you automatically know you need to add more red. So that's what I'm doing here. All right. And if your brown is too reddish, like mine is now, you probably have to add more blue or yellow to that. Okay. So actually, this is quite fine. Doesn't need more blue or yellow. So there's a brown. If you want to start using that, I just would suggest we stick to the white at the moment, because then you're going to see where your trees are at, because this brown might also disappear into that green. Okay, cool. So we've got that down, and now we're just going to grab that white again. All right, and your big brush. Okay. And then, as you can see here on your step 2, the trees on the sides are taller and also wider. And we are going to go also about, remember we said about 4 fingers over there. That's the, actually a little bit lower. That's the top third of your canvas. And then you're just going to pull down with your big brush a nice thick tree in the foreground here. So we've got that over there. Okay. There we go. And it's all right if the blue mixes in like that. I actually think it looks lovely, because we're going to be adding more blue onto our tree later. Okay, so we've got a big tree on the one side, also the same length over there, but I'm going to leave a little bit of a space on the side here, and I'm just going to pull down another tree like that. Make it a bit thicker. Okay. So there we go. We've got our two bigger trees. All right. And now I would like you to use your middle brush, your middle size brush. Just rinsing off my big brush. Also, please note that if you are leaving your brushes in your water, they do tend to bend or kind of split out. So you actually just want to rinse them off nicely and put them down on the side. Also, you don't want to be leaving paint on them because that tends to dry and then you can't use your brush again. So it's just good to, in between your use of brushes, to rinse it off and just, you can place it on your lappy or wherever you like. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next trees that will be shorter and a little bit thinner. So we're still using white here. Okay. And our middle brush. All right. So got that there, and let's say about 1 or 2 fingers space from the top. So that would be the length of that tree, and maybe just as thick as your brush actually makes the tree, you know. There we go. And you pull it down. In the middle here, between your big tree and your next tree, that space doesn't really matter. It can be 1 finger, it can be 2 fingers. I like to have different spaces in between my trees, but if you want to go completely symmetrical, that's also all good. So yeah, we've got that one down now. And then I'm going to do mine about in the same area. So if I were to literally measure from the bottom of that tree to the other side, that's where I want to start my next tree. And also about the same length there. There we go. And I'm just going to pull that down. Please do not worry if your trees are not straight. We had a hashtag trending last week with your other team members, that real trees have curves. So you can give them some curves.
Yes, so don't worry about those straight lines, A-types. Give it a curve.
You can even purposely give it a bit of a curve. So I'm going to do that on purpose here, my front tree, like that. All right. So it's really okay if your trees are a bit curvy. There we go. All right. Nice. So we've got our 2 first trees and we're going to move on to the next one. Yes, here I would use my smallest brush. Okay, so we've now done our big brush, our medium brush, and we're going to use our smallest brush for the rest. And just rinsing off my brush. There we go. Okay, and that is our smallest brush in some white paint. And we're going to add 2 more trees. A little bit lower, a little bit closer. Does someone have a question? Oh, okay, cool. All right, so yes, once again, shorter and even a little bit closer to the tree, going down, starting it there, and I'm pulling it down to my diagonal line. Also note this tree is even thinner than the tree before. That's why we're using our smaller brush. So I'm going to do another one here. There we go. Okay, on both sides. And then another one, even thinner and even shorter. Skinny links. There we go. Little tiny trees. Okay, so now we've got about 4 trees on each side. If you maybe, like me, have a little bit more space on the one side, and then you can add another thinner tree going down there, and one there, but it's usually about 4 on each side. Okay, so there we go. I'm quickly just gonna run through that again while everyone's finishing up, and then I would love to see what yours looks like. So we started on the outside of our canvas, and there we put in the taller trees that were also wider with our big brush. Then we added in with our medium brush a little bit shorter and thinner trees, and then using our small brush we added in even thinner trees. And as we move to the middle of our canvas into our background, they get thinner and even shorter. So yes, so that's what I've done. And what you'll see now is that effect of us, we are creating this path and we're giving that perspective, pulling us into the scenery. Okay, and that's what you want to be doing. Cool. Can I see some of your artworks? If you're ready, you can lift it up and show me. Nice. Awesome. Ryan, loving it. There we go.
Lovely.
And Melissa, amazing.
Very nice 3D effects here. Very nice.
There we go. Awesome. Oh, there's so many people. I'm loving your artworks. David, well done. And your boy, what's your boy's name, David? Oh, you're muted.
Slogan of the year.
Right. What's your boy's name?
My name is Joshua.
Joshua, your picture is looking so good. That's awesome. And is it Jamir? That's awesome. Very nice.
Joshua's looking fantastic. Chantal, good stuff. Claudia, absolutely lovely. Your front trees are nice and prominent. Bev, you've got, I can really like imagine myself in that corridor. Very nice.
See, Nazo, amazing. So cool. So what I've done here now, and I'll do it again over here. So I've just used a little bit of the blue that I've had left, or and mixed some yellow and some white into that. But if you don't have any colors left, I'm just gonna start from scratch. So we're gonna use a blob of yellow and just a little bit of blue. You're just basically gonna touch it with your brush there. Also, once again, using my medium brush, right? And so that's gonna give us a green when we mix it into each other. And we can add a little bit of white to that, even more. Okay, so just a nice light green. The brighter you want green to be, the more yellow you add. The lighter you want it, the more white you add. And then the darker you want it, the more green you add. But we'll get more to mixing greens a little bit later. It doesn't matter too much at the moment, because all we will be doing is just giving ourselves kind of a guideline as to where we would like to place our leaves at the end. So you see here on step 2, I've just done a bit of a curve there, but I've gone over it when I was painting my leaves. So your line would be somewhere about there. So you don't want to make it too narrow in the middle here, because you actually want to see that sky. So I would just start round about, if I can measure for you guys, maybe about like 3 fingers there at the top. You can make a dot, and then on this side about 3 fingers. So that's where we're going to start, and we're going to pull it down to round about there in the middle of our canvas. So if you were to hold 2 fingers in the middle of your canvas and just kind of pull that down there. So we've got that line, and now it doesn't really matter. You just kind of do a bit of a curvy, and you don't have to be a continuous line, you know, you can just even do a few bits going like that. It's just a guidance of where are you going with your artwork. Okay, cool. So I'm just rinsing off my brush again. And then we are ready for step number 3. Okay. Does anyone have any questions up until this point? Okay, and can everyone...
Excuse me?
Yeah?
Can you repeat the step that you just did?
Yes, definitely. Okay, so I've mixed a light green, and that is with 2 blobs of yellow, 1 blob of blue, tiny blob of blue, and also about 1 blob of white, and you mix that in together, and then you get a nice light green. And then what I did is, if you measure about 3 fingers from the corner of your canvas to the inside, you can make a dot there at the top, and then again from the other corner of the canvas at the top to the inside, you make a dot, and then you can put 2 fingers here on the middle of your horizontal line. You put 2 fingers, and you can make a dot on that side, a dot on that side, and then you just kind of want to create a diagonal curvy line going from your top dot that you put down to your bottom one, and this side. And also your lines, as you see there, it doesn't have to be a continuous line. It's just a guidance as to where your leaves are going to be in the end. So when we're going to start doing our leaves, that's the area which you're going to do them in. Okay, and what you'll start seeing now is a bunch of triangles happening here. So there's a triangle pulling our view into the middle. We've got 2 triangles from the sides here, and then 1 from the top there. And what that is doing, this is a typical composition that's really good at pulling the viewer into your artwork, because it's pulling everything into the middle here, which is our focal point, and that is what we want. So we're learning a bit about composition as well today. Ha! Okay. Any other questions? Is everyone comfortable with their colors? Can I get a whoop whoop? Some spirit. It doesn't have to be whoop whoop. You can make a new sound if you like.
I had a lot of people that like threw their hands up in the air as if to go whoop whoop, but with their body.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, here we go. There's Jamia. It's just like flinging his arms around.
Awesome.
All right, I think that everyone's ready to go.
Okay. So step 3 is the step where even I have lost faith in myself, because at the beginning it feels awkward. It feels like it's not getting where it should be getting. And the reason for this is there's a lot of layering involved in our forest floor. So at the beginning, it seems a bit disjointed and you might feel uncomfortable. Don't worry, even I am feeling it at that moment. And every artwork that I've ever made has that moment where you're like, what am I doing? It's not coming together. And it's crazy. If you just push through that point, you're like, oh, wow. So I need you all to please push through that point. It will come together. Okay. So what we've got here is our forest floor. As you can see on your step, it's darker on the sides and lighter as it moves into the middle of the path. I also have a artwork here. Aha, there we go, that I can just show you. So that is what we're going for. Here you can see the colors more properly. We're going to use blues and greens interchangeably on the sides there and on that side. All right, and as we move into the middle, some lighter greens, some lighter blues, maybe some purples in the middle there. And as we move to the back, our colors actually get more milky, so we mix in some more white with them, so it gets lighter and lighter and it's kind of disappearing into the distance. Okay, so this is what we're going for. You will get there, I promise. Okay, cool. Now you can grab your medium brush. Let's go for that. Okay, if you have some of your dark green left, that is cool. Mine's nearly done, so I'm also just going to mix some new colors here. Okay, we will be using blue and yellow at the moment now. So into that same puddle, I'm just going to add a big blob of blue and also probably the same amount of yellow. Let's see what color we get there. Da, da, da. Okay, so that's a nice dark green, and oh my goodness, I've actually mixed the same green that I had before. Ha! First try. That never happens. Okay, so we've got that color, and then I would also like you just to have a nice blue color. So I'm going to use the same brush, even though it's got a little bit of green on it. But that will just give our blue a different shade than the one that's straight from the jar. Okay, so we've got a little bit of blue there. We've got our green. Okay, and we are going to currently work with these two colors. Actually, you know, I'm going to mix one more color, which has a little bit more yellow. So we've got our mid-tone, which is going to be the dark green. And then even darker than that is our blue with a little bit of that green inside. And now I'm just taking a big blob of yellow on the side of my green here with that green on my brush. And I am just mixing that in. Ah, that's lovely. There we go. And also remember just to use all the sides of your brush to get all of that color into that puddle. There we go. Okay, let's go a bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit more blue. Nice. Okay. So that is what you're looking for. You're looking for kind of like a mossy green, you know? So not too light, like the color of the grass or leaves, just a bit darker than that. Okay, there we go. And actually next to that, do you guys see, as soon as we put that green down there, this darker green seems even more blue. Okay, colors are great. So I am now gonna start with this lighter one. And I'm just going to pull in some lines around my trees like that. See in there? And it's also important at the moment to go over that horizontal line that we painted here. So just to let that disappear, you can cover it up. Okay, and we've got a few more lines coming in here. In between your trees, you can put some green down. Okay, and then we also want to cover this white line, but please just remember where it is. Okay, there we go. And from that line, you can put a few strokes in from the side. I'm just going to tilt that so you can see there. Okay, so that is with our lighter shade of green out of the ones we've just mixed. And I'm going to do exactly what I did now on this side, on the other side. But first, take a sip of wine. Okay. Now, once again, just filling in, covering the horizontal line that we painted earlier. Okay, just covering that up and pulling more of that green in. Okay, and what's important at this point is all our strokes are going to be horizontal, moving in from the side into the middle of your canvas, and you're just pulling some lines going in there. Luckily, we do have some dark green already playing around there in our background, so we don't have to fill all those spaces. You want that background that you've painted to shine through. Okay, so just here and there, we're pulling in some nice greens. Okay. Anyone have a question about the green that we've just placed down and how we've brought the colors in?
It doesn't look like it from my end. But so Lily, was there a question? Sorry, I might have interrupted someone. No? No. While we wait for everyone to catch up, you mentioned that I mentioned and you confirmed that you paint in wine. So yeah. I'm sure that the audience is just as intrigued because I was. How does that work? Do you put your paintbrush in your wine glass and then splash it onto your canvas? Do you splash wine onto your canvas? I mean, it sounds fun, but I mean, it's such a exotic medium.
Yeah, so I think everyone's first idea when they hear that, they're like, I was just sitting there, drinking some wine, and I looked at my canvas and I threw a glass at my canvas. I wish it was such an interesting story. It's really not. So I mainly use Shiraz because the pigment is stronger than, for instance, in a Merlot or like any white wine, So, and the great thing is my favorite wine to drink as well is also Shiraz. So that's always fun.
That's convenient.
Hey?
I said that's handy.
Yes, it's a handy, and also what I like about that is, so for instance, I usually only paint with wine that is oxidated. So the older the wine is, actually the stronger the pigment is as well. Especially, you'll see if you drink really old bottles of wine, usually at the bottom of your glass after you've finished, like these, I don't know what they call it. I'm not a winemaker, but the residue.
Sediment.
Yes, sediment. There we go. At the bottom, that has a lot of color inside of it. So, I like using old wine, and then it's basically, it works like watercolor would work or like ink would work, But because the pigment is so much lighter, you have to layer and layer and layer and layer to get any contrast in your artwork. So it takes much longer, I think, than any other medium that I've used. Yeah, I love it and I enjoy it because I just love the symbolism of wine, that wine has in itself, you know, the whole process that it needs to go through. It's this process of transformation from the seed that grows into the vineyard, and then you have this fruit that you create into wine, and then I just take it a step further from the glass and I paint in it, which I feel gives this everlasting life to the wine, you know. And yeah, and I love the symbolism of transformation that wine has, because it's also a big how do I say, like sorry, I lost my train of thought now. Yes, it's a big theme that I find in that I actually use in a lot of my other artworks. So yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting. In full disclosure, I mean, most of these questions to our audience are curated for you, but I have actually I have participated in one of Lily's paint with wine sessions when she did her in-person events, and it was so fascinating. But it's such a difficult process. I tried to do a hoopoo for my grandma. Very ambitious task, and I'm not an artist, and it took me, I don't know, how long did it take me, Lily? Like 2 months, because you have to keep staining it and staining it and staining it.
Oh yes, yeah.
Pink then turns into darker pink, which then turns into red, but it takes such a long time. It's really amazing.
Awesome. I'm happy you enjoyed it. So, but I must say, I don't do hoops in all my wine classes. Alex just asked me if she could do that. I usually take a quite easy still life, and then I also take you through a step-by-step, and then it usually takes about the whole session is probably about 2.5 hours, but the actual painting of your artwork goes like an hour. So you can do it in an hour. You don't have to take 2 months.
Yes,
but
yes,
yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to scare anyone off. No, I was ridiculous. I chose to do this over ambitious piece, and it took me forever, but it was actually so amazing. It looks like most people are finished and ready to go on to that next step. So please give us a thumbs up. Yes, Claudia, saw your thumb. Awesome. Yeah, okay, that's most people.
Okay, cool. So we've still got, okay, so we've now started adding horizontal lines coming from the sides, going in with a lighter green. Now we're going to move on to our darker green, and kind of in between those colors. So here and there you can overlap, and what you want is, even if it's still wet, because that would be lovely if it's still wet, to kind of pull them into each other so that they just blend nicely into each other. And as you can see there, I'm not going over each line that I've already placed. I'm just here and there in between. And then especially here on your, in between your trees, you want it to be a little bit darker, because there will be more shade in between the trees than there is on this side here. So we're just pulling, once again, some lines coming in from the bottom of our trees. And here we go, and nice and dark maybe there. In the corner, you can add quite a bit of that dark green, and pulling that in like that. Okay, so already you'll see how dynamic that has become by just adding a bit of a contrast there. Okay, so we want to do exactly what we've got over there. And I mean, wait, let's even move up here in between your trees. You can give them some darker bits. And it is okay, for instance, if you go bloops over a tree like that, it's fine. Acrylic is amazing. You can just paint over it when it's dry. So yeah, let's just add maybe some more in there. And we are going to do the same on this side. So we are pulling in, go nice and dark here in the corner. And we are just pulling in between these greens, adding a bit of darker green. Right. Here we go, and up here. Once again, fine if you go over your trees a little bit. We are going to fix them up closer to the end. So just moving into here. Oops. Oh. At least I'm not a hairdresser. A hairdresser has actually said oops while she was doing my hair.
That's not a nice thing to hear.
No. Oops. But we're doing art, so we're allowed saying oops.
Yeah, it's a less risky business.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the effect we're going for, and it's coming together nicely. I think just here with mine, you can see that that horizontal line is still shining through a bit. So I am just gonna, with this nice dark green, actually make a blobby over there so that it just covers it up like that. Yeah, it's disappearing more now. Okay, there we go. Da, 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 da. And if you maybe feel like adding a little bit more green, the lighter green in here and there, if your paint was maybe dry, you can do that. Add some more of your greens in. Okay. Da, 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 da. There we go. So any questions at the moment as to mixing these two colors into each other? Please remember those lines need to be horizontal, so they communicate that we are busy with the forest floor here.
Looks all clear, Lily.
Okay.
Concentrating very deeply.
Is
on
it?
the task at hand. How does everyone feel about moving on to the next step? You're welcome to give me a thumbs down if moving too fast. Okay, some thumbs down. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a sip of your wine.
Yes.
Lily, so how did COVID-19 treat you? Like, were you taking a much needed rest, or were you like creating a whole bunch of art pieces?
Yeah, so I like to believe I focus on the good stuff, you know. So, but I think COVID impacted all of us in not always the best way, but yeah. So I think on the more negative side of things is I used to run a lot of events where I did, as I mentioned before, I teach people how to paint in wine as well. So I would take for team buildings or bachelorettes or birthdays or whatever, I would take groups of people to a wine farm, and then we do a wine tasting, and during that wine tasting we do some nice creative expression exercises, and then I would take them through a step-by-step to create their own wine art piece. And I love doing that. It was amazing because I love people and I love working with people and I want to hear people's stories. And yeah, and I got a lot of different travelers as well. So a lot of foreigners used to do my wine art classes. And that completely stopped in COVID.
No, we also our primary funding is also socially conscious events, and oh my gosh, when lockdown happened, I think I cried for a whole week. I was like, God, what's going to happen now? But it affected so many people so profoundly. I'm really happy we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, me too. Yeah, very, very happy. But so I mean, I was like, okay, well, that's done. I just might as well, you know, take the time to create more art pieces. And actually, it was such a lovely time to just know I don't have to juggle all of these things, you know, fitting in my creating of art with my admin and my events, because it really took up a lot of my time. And I just had that first month of that crazy lockdown, can't go anywhere, was actually such an amazing time to have, because I felt like I had time to experiment, you know, I had time to play around with different mediums, play around with different techniques and so on, where usually, because my time is so what's the word, it's just so tight, you know, when I paint, I feel it needs to be you know, usable. It needs to be a product at the end of this, which is terrible because it's against what I believe in and it's against what I teach, you know. And so it was just a wonderful time, and I actually created a whole new series in that time, and also going on in the lockdown. And it's a charcoal series called To Be Human. And yeah, it was amazing to do it and create it, and I found a new style. So yeah, and it's on my website. I've also released it now, so if you guys want to go check it out, yeah.
Sure, you're quite versatile there, hey Lily. Lots of different mediums you work with.
I like to believe I can work in all mediums, but I've kind of built my brand around monotone colors. So you'll also see on my website, most of my artworks are monotone and in a similar style. But because that's what I wanted my brand to be. But I also do create artworks that don't necessarily fit into that. I just don't post them.
Awesome. So while Lily has been telling us about her COVID-19 journey, I have been watching Jamie absolutely jam up a storm in his room. And I think I wasn't the only one, because I saw Samira and everyone laughing, and I don't know if it was at you or someone else, but you are having a jolt. Put your mic on. What were you listening to? I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. You tend to be a bit awkward here. Oh, you have a real vibe. Lovely.
Well done, Yamir.
That's so fantastic. Nice. I think we're ready for the next step. Oh, Leanna has a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Leanna, I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. That is really weird. Oh, but pop your question in the chat bar. I'll read it for you. Okay, awesome. All right, thumbs up, everyone. Can we move on? Yes? Epic, Lily. That's a thumbs up all round.
Nice. Okay. So then, yeah, it's not as necessary. If you feel like your artwork has has come together at this point. You don't necessarily have to add in this darker blue, but if you would like to, we're just going to here and there just add some dark blue in between these trees again, like that, and literally just here and there, you know, underneath the trees especially, because that's where the shadow would lie. Okay, like that. Right, and you can maybe pull in with your blue a few lines coming in there. Do you guys see them? But also see, like I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines in that color, and then mixing into that darker green again, and also just pulling a few shades in here and there, especially here in the bottom of my canvas. Okay, and then with the lighter green, we're going to pull a few lines, just a little bit coming in to the middle. This is usually where it feels a bit disjointed, and don't worry about it. So your sides should be coming together now. If there's any spaces that you feel is a little bit awkward and it needs a bit more paint, you can add that in. And then we're going to start adding some light colors into the middle here. Okay. I'm just going to rinse my brush. There we go.
I did see a question from Leanna, who was actually asking how she can sign up for these wine painting sessions. So thank you so much, Sam. We do have our private paint and zips, and they're super fun, but they're with acrylic art. Lily, do you have lessons happening at the moment, virtually, or when are you going to start your lessons again?
So I mainly market them on Facebook and on Airbnb. So Alex, if you won't mind, maybe just typing in on the message bar my Facebook handle, so that's my Facebook page name, is Lily Brannon Fine Art. And also the events are mostly marketed on my I Am Art page, so it would be I Am Art SA. Okay. And that is my Facebook and my Insta handle. So
yeah, everyone has it at in their boxes, actually. Like the last page of your book has all of Lily's information, so you can go and check it out there. I am also cognizant that some people are like super excited for the next step. So I realized I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I don't see it here. Maybe they have it, but yeah, so it would be on there. And also you can just find me on Airbnb, and it seems like those experiences are starting again, so I'm happy about that. Oh, you guys have this page.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, so on this fantastic page down there at the bottom is where you can follow me on Facebook, and also on Airbnb experiences. That's going to start soon. If you want to organize your own event on your own time, you can definitely do that also on Airbnb and just book out a date there. So yeah. Yay. And I can do online ones if you want to pop me an email and be like, oh, Lily, I don't want to go to a wine farm, I just want to paint in wine. Then we can organize an online thing.
Awesome. Thanks, Lily.
Okay. Cool. Is everyone okay for me to go on to the next step?
Yeah.
All right.
Thumbs up and nods all right.
Cool. So what you see in your booklet is we've added some lighter colors there. And I'm just going to show you my artwork again, the one that I have completed. All right. So you'll see here I've added some nice brighter colors, maybe a few purples, and they go more milky to the background. And that's what we'll be doing now. So if you have some light green left, you can use that. Otherwise, take some of this green that you've mixed. We can start a new puddle there and just add some white to that. Okay. And then definitely add some more yellow to that, just to give it a bit of a brighter color. Aha. That looks nice. Okay. I'm just mixing that in. Cool. So we've got a nice light green here. Okay, and I'm gonna add, actually, take a blob of that, create a new puddle, right? I hope you guys can see that, and add quite a bit more white to that. There we go. All right, so that one looks a little bit like a lime milkshake, and the other one is more of a grassy green. Okay, so I'll just start with this color because it's on my brush, and we're going to start here at the background a little bit. So that's there on our horizontal line in the middle of our canvas. Well, not in the middle, but like in the middle of our third half. There, and just here and there we're going to add a few lines. All right, like that. And you don't want too much paint on your brush because you kind of want the colors from the background to shine through. So just lightly let your brush touch your canvas. Okay. And we can have more of this color going to the back, like that, and less of it in the front here. Okay, so just here and there, and what it's doing, it's really popping out this pathway. And when you've got that, you can take your brighter green and go through the same process, but now we're going to add more brighter green in the front and less as we move to our background. So a nice bright stroke there, like that, and just kind of in between the lines of before, we're just pulling out some of this color. Right, and then just here and there, a little bit of that bright color bit. Okay, so that's what you want to happen here in the foreground. Also, still horizontal lines, and these brush strokes that you can really see as a brush stroke, they are lovely. It's good to have them there. Okay. And then rinsing my brush. There we go. Right. Any questions? Nope. So just recap, I'm using a light, brighter green and then more of a milky light green. And I'm just placing them in horizontal brush strokes down in my path. Okay. Cool.
Lovely. How's everyone doing? Can we see some of your paintings? I'd love to see how everyone's faring. Oh, lovely, Claudia.
Nice.
Samira. I'm not sure. There's like 3 people in Samira's frame. Samantha, that's looking nice. How are you feeling now? How are you feeling this time round? I also see you have a glass of wine there. Okay. Does it help?
I unmute myself and I just didn't want to do it.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I figured that this time I'll permit myself to drink wine. Maybe I'll like my painting more.
Yeah, yes, that's also some of the reason why we might have called it Paint and Sip.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, they're looking fantastic. They're really getting there. They really are getting there. Fernando, lovely. I love your floor. Your highlights are gorgeous.
Gigi, waar's joune? Ek wys jou myne en dan wys jy my joune. No? Yay! That's awesome, Mia. Oh, now he's just disappeared.
He's still there. He's just not holding up his painting anymore.
Okay. He was, I saw him on my screen for a moment, and then when I looked again, it wasn't there anymore. But I've got too many screens here in front of me. You guys, that's looking really awesome. Yeah, I think some of you are still a bit busy with the forest floor, so I'm going to give you a bit more time to finish that up.
Awesome. So, Lily, you mentioned that you've got like quite a few series that you paint, and that's actually quite amazing. That's something that I learned. I mean, we've known each other for a while, but I didn't actually know that in full disclosure. So, yeah, like, do you always do series? How many of them do you have? And like, are they like 3 paintings a series, or how does that work?
So I think it depends on the artist, but I like to have at least more than 5 in a series. The series I was talking of earlier, called To Be Human, is currently the only charcoal series I have available. And if I can tell you a bit more about that meaning, it's something that's really close to my heart, and it's focused on looking at the similarities that make us human. You know, we all have similar struggles, we all have similar joys, and we all actually have these similar stories and journeys. And this series is made to kind of inspire the viewer and to focus on those similarities when we see another human, and rather see a glimpse of ourselves in another person, instead of focusing on our differences, you know, on different cultures, different races, different genders, and instead of looking at our differences, to focus on the similarities and to only see one race called the human race, and have one response, and that would be love and compassion for each other. So that's what the main thing of that series is about. And yeah, I'm still busy with it. I would like to do a ton of different people from different backgrounds and really get their portraits. So it's a portrait series. Sorry, I didn't mention that. And yes, I'd love to just do an exhibition of just this series. So I think that series is going to grow. Currently, I think it's on about 19 pieces.
Wow.
So yeah, and I'm really enjoying that series. And then I've done a few other series. The one's called Be My Bird, and I have another one called Rise Above, and the last one is Strength and Vulnerability. So, and all of them are about between, let's say, 7 to about 12 pieces per series. And yeah, so
lovely.
Yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Okay, I think we can go on to the next step, Lily.
Awesome. Okay, now we are bringing some color into our painting. So we've got a lot of blues and greens going on here. And now we want to bring in some purples or some pinks and so on. So what's important to differentiate between is your red and your rose. So on this camera, they actually look really similar, but you'll be able to see when you hold them next to each other that the one is definitely a bit more pinky than the other one. So you want to be using your rose color, which is the color that's a bit more pink. Okay, so we're putting the red aside for now. And we are going to grab a blob of our rose. I'm just going to turn my palette a bit. Okay, so we're going to put a blob of rose there. Maybe 2. Let's go for 2. And then if you have some blue left from before that's already mixed with some white, we are going to create a new puddle and just add some of our rose to that and mix it in. And even more. Okay, but if you don't, we're going to have a blob of rose and just a little bit of blue and mix them together. Then you'll see you'll be mixing quite a darkish purple, and that's good because we are going to add some white to that. Oh, there we go. 2 blobs of white. Okay, so that's really purple. I want mine to be a tad more pink than that. So I'm going to add some more rose. There we go. So it's a bit of a brighter purple that we've got there. A nice light and bright purple. And then you can also mix yourself. So at this point, if you feel like doing a more of a pinky color and really add lots of rose to that, see, that is also a lovely color. You can do that too. You can even use just rose and add some white. Sorry, I'm moving a bit quick because I'm giving options. Okay. That's like a pink. Okay, so you can do whatever you like at this point with colors that you're adding. What I'm gonna do, because it goes so nicely with these lovely greens that we've mixed, these lime greens, is I'm just mixing this light purple. It reminds me of a lavender. Okay, so we're just doing that, and with this color we're just gonna go here and there on our forest floor, not as much green as we went, just like here and there to pick out. And you'll see as soon as you place this color close to your green's really gonna pop out. So I'm gonna place a little bit of purple there in front. And what you want to do here is you don't want all the lines like next to each other. You want them to kind of like, how do I explain this? Like just merge in between each other. Okay. So got some lines there and a little bit in there. Ooh, that's a big one. It's fine. And maybe just one in front there. Okay, so just here and there, pick up some of that purple. And I am going to rinse my brush again. And what I'm going to do with this purple now is add some white, more white. So I'm going to create a new puddle over there. Use that same purple and add that to that white. So just to get a milky version of that lovely purple that we've got there. Okay, so that's our milky purple. And also taking off some of the paint on our brush because we want just to softly use it. And then once again here in the middle of our road, there at the top, middle of our canvas, we're going to add more of this milky purple in there. Okay, and even here coming through a little bit to the front. All right, so we've got our purple in now, and now you'll see your forest floor is really being pulled together because we've placed the colors interchangeably into each other. If you feel like adding a little bit of blue, it's not necessary at all, but I'm just feeling it. So I'm going to grab some of my lighter blue that I've used in my sky, and I'm just going to add it just here and there. More at the back, once again, to make it that milky color. Okay. But as I said, not too important for the blue. All right, there we go. At this point, you should actually feel a little bit better about your artwork. So if there's any questions, please let me know. And yeah.
How is everyone feeling about their artwork? Let us know. I want to hear a big like woohoo if you like have that sigh of relief that you're actually going towards a forest and it doesn't look like a stick man, and let's hear from the people that still have that artist anxiety, I call it.
Man looks
I
like
think
a
I want to
bush.
sign up for the kiddies classes.
But Samantha, yours is looking lovely. Let's see yours.
I also think
Man
the
does-
kiddies classes work better.
There's absolutely nothing. Well, your sky looks lovely. That's all I can see.
Yeah, looks nice. Okay.
Lovely.
Samantha, that's looking really good. I think what I would just do is bring in some more darker greens and on the sides, just on the sides of your path, and then it will really create more of a path going in.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's looking lovely.
Brush should we use?
How's everyone else feeling?
Need a brush.
Feeling good.
Very good. Oh, I love that. Nice. Good. I'm so glad. It's generally at this time when everyone relaxes into it. You know, the paintbrush feels more comfortable, and this is when the magic starts to happen. We're here now. You've arrived. Okay, so I see a few people still trying to get that floor absolutely gorgeous, but I also see a few people that are waiting. So let's just give everyone a few more minutes. So Lily, I know that you have some of your artwork with us today, and I'm very, very excited that you bought the bird, because I bought the bird and I haven't yet received it. I'm so excited. I'm getting it tomorrow, but will you show everyone your some of your artworks that you have and give everyone a sense of some of the other work that you can do?
Yes, definitely. So as I mentioned, one of my series is called Be My Bird, and I've got actually 2 artworks of that series here today. And okay, I'm going to show you, and then I'll talk a little bit more about what the series means and so on. So we've got, this is, there's a bit of a glare, but this is the main bird of one of the main. There we go. There we go. So that's the bird, and that's the bird Alex bought. And yes, you
it is. I'm so excited.
You're getting it tomorrow. And then this bird is called An Invitation of Ruach. And then we've got a little girl here, and as you can see, there's also a glimpse of the bird there. And this painting is called A Glimpse. So these are not actually the original paintings. These are prints of my original pieces, which I also do sell. And yeah, this series is mainly about yeah, it's got a liberation theme, and it's about being reminded and invited, rather than reminded, into another realm, a realm where you can be free and fly and have belonging and acceptance, and you know, it's all those intangible things that we have in life, and it's just kind of especially this bird specifically is an invitation into that realm. You know, it's this and it's that specific bird was actually based on a bird from South America called the quetzal, and they call it the god of the sky. And so I used that bird as the main thing, and I changed it a little bit to create my own bird. And it's just this bird inviting you into its freedom and to fly through the sky with it, and just to remind yourself to not take life too serious, and remember to play, and remember to fly, and remember to do the things that actually make you come alive, and do the things that make you feel free. So yeah, so that's what that series is kind of about. There's a lot more to it, but yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe we, Alex, I don't know how far anyone is, because I have 2 more other artworks, but I can always show it a bit later.
Yeah, I think we can move on to the next step, and then we'll just progression into it. But okay. I absolutely think that that's beautiful. Just remembering to be, you know, present and mindful, and enjoy, and take those moments to really like enjoy life, because I mean, yes, you know, the hustle's real, but sometimes just to smell the roses is also so important. I love that. Oh, I'm so excited for my bird, Lily.
Oh, yay!
Okay. I think if you don't have to give me another thumbs up. I'm pretty sure at this stage, if you give me another thumbs up, you're gonna like shove the thumb at the screen. Stop telling me to thumbs up. Just nod your head if you're happy to move on, or whoop whooples. Okay, great. All right, they're happy. They're happy to move on, Lily. Just so that you know, I mean, it probably sounds a little awkward me having to tell Lily, but she's navigating a few screens. So so I'm doing the bird's eye view, big brother's watching here. Okay, cool, Lily.
Awesome, thanks so much, Alex. So yes, we're going to move on to our next step, and what you'll see is we are now at step 4, and we are going to be adding a few more trees in between our main trees, and then also some branches. So let's give our tree some friends, and we're going to use a white still for that. So you can grab your smallest brush and just mix in some white paint there. Also, just a note, little art tip, if you mix some water into your white, you will realize that the paint, it dilutes the paint a little bit, and it's a bit easier to get a finer line with that. So that's actually what I'm doing right now. I'm just dipping my brush into the water and straight into my paint, just to dilute it a little bit for me to get that thin line. And what I'm also doing here with my brush, you'll see I'm rolling it to make a point at the front. So that's what I'm just doing. I'm rolling it to the left and rolling it to the right. And then I have more of a point there. Okay, and now...
Lily?
Yes?
Is that just plain white?
It is just plain white. There was a little bit of blue on my brush. So, but it doesn't matter. As long as it's close to white, you're going to be all right. We are still here. I think it was the universe trying to say, Lily, slow down, give these people some time to paint the trees before you go into the branches. So,
oh, I can tell you, I am so relieved that you're back, because there is nothing I could have done from where I'm sitting. I did try. I told everyone to get a drink. I told everyone to have a bathroom break, to stand up, stretch their legs. I see some people are still painting. So actually it came at a good time, Lily. Welcome back. I'm so very glad you're with us again.
awesome. So do you think I should wait for a few more people to come back, maybe from their bathroom break? Or can I go on explaining the branches?
Let me just take a look over here. No, people are thumbs upping. Go on with the branches. Perfect.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I am using my smallest brush with the branches. I am also using the color white, or a type of white. Mine's a little bit bluish, but that's good because my trees are going to be blue anyway. So I'm just going to explain that again, what I explained on this side with my branches. The taller your branches become, the thinner they become. So we're going to start with, on this side, our biggest, our widest tree here. We are going to give here maybe like 1, 2 big branches, and they can curve a little bit if you like. Maybe let's give them a bit of a, like that. And then they split out into more. So out of this one, I can maybe pull a smaller branch coming there, and that one even splitting into 2, and then this one also splitting in somewhere into 3. You don't have to do so many branches. We are gonna fill them, as you see on this painting, with a lot of leaves. So it's just for in case they kind of seep through, as you see over there in that area. It's really nice when you see a few branches coming through. So this is just the reason for it. And yeah, so you can literally just do kind of like a Y, you know, and then let another Y come out of that Y. Or you can do a little bit more intricate branches coming out there. And you also don't have to do all your trees, but I'm going to move on to a few more. Maybe just give this tree 1 branch going up there, and there, also creating a bit of a Y, and a branch up there. Also, please remember the further we go back, the thinner our branches need to be. Okay, so the branches that I'm painting now are much thinner than the branches in our foreground. So this one, I'm just putting like 3 little branches coming out there. Okay, and on this side 2, and I'm just going to let that 1 split much thinner into 2 more, and maybe just there, like that. So you guys get the idea. We're just adding a few branches going into our background. Okay, as they move to the back, I mean, I would do it only on the first 1, 2, 3 main trees that we've painted. And then if there's any trees that fall in between those main trees that are also big, like these 2, I would paint some branches there.
Annika, I love the excitement your little one was showing there next to you. I hope that was because of your painting.
It was being on camera.
He was super excited and super cute.
He's a little actor in the actor or actress in the making. I did
Yeah, at least you couldn't see the bottom half because he actually just has a t-shirt on.
Oh, what it is to be a child. Wonderful.
Okay, I'm going to mention something. It's not a big step, so I'm going to move on. It's okay if you're still busy with painting in your branches. We are now going to fill in the color of our trees. So I'm going to use blue, as is, out of the little jar of paint that we have. Okay, this would now be the point. If you want to make your trees brown and not blue, go right ahead. I'm going to go through how to mix brown again, and I will blobs it on here for you. So 1 blob of blue, actually no, let's go. 2 blobs of blue. 1 blob of red, and 2 blobs of yellow, like that. And when you mix those together, I'm going to leave that there so that you can see it. When you mix those together, you should get a brown. All right. And if it is too red, add more yellow and blue. If it is too green, add more red. Okay, and then you will get some brown over there. But I am making my trees blue. Because I don't know, they just make me happy when they're blue. I feel there's these moments where you sometimes, when you're on a hike or walking through the forest or whatever, and the light just hits the trees in a certain way, and it feels like all the colors are illuminated, and then the shade of the tree seems blue and the light bits seem a bit purple, and yeah, all these colors are just emphasized. So I think that's the reason why I'm making mine blue, and I want it to seem a bit of like a fantasy scene. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And yeah, so I'm gonna grab some of this blue and just start adding it.
Is there someone with a question? I keep hearing that. I think maybe Hazel, have you got a question for us? Oh, no, sorry. I saw you there looking like you might want to ask us.
Facial expression was priceless.
She was like, no, don't say my name.
Deer in headlights, like I was last week. What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Keeping things awkward since 2020.
So what you also can do is at hand just have some white, and you can, while you're adding in your blue, just keep some white and here and there pull some lines in. And the reason for this, we are putting it on, if you're working on these trees over here on our right hand side trees, on the left hand side of those trees, that is where the light is going to hit, because we see our light is coming here from the sky side and it's hitting this side of our trees. It's also coming down here and hitting that side of our trees. So you'll see that here the tree will be much darker than it will be on that side. And you can also do the same with branches. So you can even just leave that like white line coming through like that. Also at this point, better to use your smaller brush than a bigger brush. It's easier to contain. But if you want to just for your 2 front trees, you can use your medium brush. So that's my blue tree over there. We can even put a bit of purple in that if you like. but it's not necessary. So I'm grabbing some of the purple that I've mixed before, and just here and there, I'm adding that in. Oh, nice. So, and I challenge you next time when you're going on a hike and it's close to sunset, look at the trees and see if you can see the purples in the trees. Okay, so I've even put some purple in that. Oh, I'm inspired today. All right, and we're literally going to do exactly that with every tree. So once again, I'm adding some dark blue on the outer side of my tree. All right. But it is lighter than my background. That's what you'll see. If yours isn't lighter than your background, you can mix a little bit of white into that. So I'm just adding that in there. Okay, some blue. And on my branches.
Sorry, Lily.
Yes.
What is the brown for?
Oh, the brown is if you don't want to make your trees blue and purple, then you can, if you want to go more natural and realistic, you could make them brown. So I'm not using brown at all in my painting, but for those of you that feel like it, you can go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. And so if you're working with brown, you would just, as I say blue, you would actually be adding brown, and because I'm using blue and white, you would be using brown and white. All right. So once again, I've added dark blue or brown, and then just here and there, some white bits as the light hits our tree on that side over there. Bit of a glare, there we go. And also, if your trees are a bit curvy, they will be fatter or wider to the bottom of your of the canvas and of the forest floor, so they will go out wider. So I'm just widening up my tree a little bit here. Okay, and I need a smaller brush. My medium brush is too big for this job. So I'm moving in and I'm just getting a little bit more blue paint onto my palette. Okay, and there we go. Now you start adding that in to your branches. Also noting if you're going darker, it needs to be the outer side of your canvas, and the inside of your canvas, you want your lighter bits, because our light is coming from this area where the sky is. Okay, so that needs to be darker. And there's our branches. And we're moving on to this tree. So we're just going over that white. And what's also happening here is, even though we're using a darker blue on our palette, the white that's already on our canvas is making that blue lighter as we place it down on top of that white. And that's what we want. So over all your white trees, also in the background, they're covered in blue or brown. As we go on like that, tiny little trees. And these branches, top. And once again, I'm just adding a little bit more white in on the side. Okay, and some more blue on top of the other trees. And what's going to happen is they are going to disappear a little bit more, but that is what we want. We want them to disappear into the background. Okay. So let's do this side. Nice dark blue. And you can leave a little bit of that white coming through there. Okay, and I'm going to add a bit more white there. What's nice about this, if our paint is still wet when we apply the blue and then add some white, that's when it just automatically blends into itself. All right, and then if you are adding purples, you just grab some of your purple and just here and there, you can pull a bit of purple into your tree. I hope you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So just, and all these brush strokes are vertical. Okay, and what that does is that's communicating the bark of the tree. It's creating that texture. Okay, up and down. A little bit of purple. I would only put purple in my trees that are closest to my foreground. I wouldn't go purple all the way. So adding some more blue over the white on this side. There we go. So at this point, this is where you want to be fixing up your trees, you know, give them the shape you want them to have, and work in your highlights as we add in the white on the inner side of the tree, and really just, so you can do a bit of effort here. This is where we're going a little bit more into the details of the trees. And you'll see as soon as you add that dark bit with your white coming through there, your tree automatically just pops out into your foreground. And that's what we want. So I'm also just continuing here. Remember your trees that you've done in white, the tiny ones in the background, they also need to become blue. All right, and I'm going over here. Go, getting there. And now you see your painting is actually really coming together at this point. When moving into the trees in the background, you can dilute your paint again to get that fine line with the paint, and twist your brush, and then just do those little lines going into the background and fading away. All right, and let's add a little bit of white here, over there. Add some more dark blue just on the outer sides. Lovely. If you feel the need, as I do, to pull a few more lines going into your forest floor, go right ahead, just to cover up some of those white bits of the canvas still shining through. Like that. Okay, and I'm maybe just here and there gonna mixing some water into my purple again, and going lighter a bit, and just here and there on my trees adding in that purple. All right, Here we go. So trees are blue or brown or purple, whatever color you like to make them. Just remember to add in that white highlight to bring the tree forward. So I'm also just going to add some highlights in there. Ooh. Okay, there we go.
Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Just about to ask.
I think it would be a nice idea if everyone could show us where you're at. I just want to see if, lovely. Okay, great, Claudia. Samira, I like the color of your trees. WJ Hats, your trees are also similarly colored like Samira's. Lovely.
Oh, that's Via. Awesome.
Melissa, lovely, lovely. Fernando, nice, well-defined trees there. I love those branches. It's really like a...
Cinder's was also very nice.
Fernando, also looking good.
Awesome. Awesome stuff.
Fantastic.
Lenny, can you show us how to do those white highlights again?
Okay, yes, definitely. So basically we've already got our white that's at the bottom. So what you be doing, I'm just going to show you on this area of the box over here. So we've got the white of our tree that we've initially actually put down, you know. Oh, that's not the straightest tree, but it's like curvy tree, curvy. Okay, so that was our color of our trees initially, and then you're going to take your darker color, if it's brown or blue. Mine were blue, so I'm going to use this blue, and I'm going to place it on the side over there and just pull it in. Okay, so I do leave a little bit of that white area coming through, but I'm now going to use my white then just there on the side. And what you'll see now is when you go over, the blue actually pulls into that white color, and that's what you want. You want to blend it in a bit and pull in some of that color there. If you want more of the white coming through, just add more to your brush like that and put it down there. So, and then you can even pull some bits coming through into that. And what I've also done, I've actually added some purple bits going in there, some purple bits. There we go. So I hope that answers your question. Was that all right?
Yes, thanks, Lenny.
Okay, great. And just rinsing my brush. Here we go. Perfect. All right, and is everyone happy for me to go onto my leaves? Can I get some hoo-ha sounds? Give me a hoo-ha if you're ready.
Hoo-ha!
No. So I used to be an MC for Varsity Cup, rugby games and volleyball games, and that was the main sound I used to let the stadium make. I'm like, can I get a hoo-ha? And then the whole stadium would go hoo-ha. So just some random information for everyone. Okay, so lacquer. We are going to mix 3 different greens. We're going to mix a light green, a dark green, and a mid-tone. So if you still have some of those greens on your palette, you're welcome to use them. Otherwise, you can just mix some new ones, and I will guide you through that process. I've got here the 2 blobs of blue that I've put down here. I'm going to use them so I don't waste paint. Putting 2 blobs of blue and also grabbing 1 blob of yellow and my biggest brush. Okay. So, and we're just mixing that in. So once again, 2 blobs of blue, 1 blob of yellow to get a nice dark green. Lovely. Okay. And now with that same brush, because we're sticking to green, you don't have to rinse it. We are going to mix our mid-tone. I'm going to do that on there. So we're going to use 1 blob of yellow, actually 2 blobs of yellow, all right, and 1 blob of blue. And then we should have a nice bright green coming out there. Just going to see if it is the right color. Okay, let's make that 3 blobs of yellow and 1 blob of blue, because I feel like this is still too dark. Right, and add that to that actually. So I'm just adding another blob of yellow to my green. There we go, that's the right ratio. So even more. Okay, I'm adding more yellow, guys. So it's like 5 blobs of yellow and 1 blob of blue. There we go, that's much better. All right, so that is our mid-tone of green. Lots of yellow and just a teeny bit of blue. Okay, and our next color, we are going to use that same brush and just put that down onto another puddle. You can get some of that paint off. And we are going to add more yellow to that. And also, so a blob of yellow and a blob of white to that. And see what color we get. Okay, there we go. So this is once again more of our lime milkshake milky green. Okay, we can go even lighter if you like. This color is fine too. There we go, our milky color. Then we've got our, just gonna mix this in here, our mid-tone of our green and our dark green. All right, so I have just mixed the same brush into our mid-tone, which has made my green a bit lighter, but that's fine. This is my favorite part. You can once again channel your emotions, get some excitement out onto your canvas, get frustration out, whatever emotion
we want to hear beatboxing. We want to hear you. Now,
yes.
It's the time to put on your mics, and I want to see you and hear you whilst you're jamming on that canvas.
Yes, so last week we actually had a guy, last week we actually had a guy that did some beatboxing for us while I was going. So do I have any volunteers?
Oh, there's some feedback.
Sorry. Do I have any beatboxing volunteers for my first attempt at my leaves? Anyone?
No.
No. Okay. So have a beat in mind, all right? Whatever it may be, it can be like boom, chicka, boom, boom. So, and we're gonna just go boom, 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 boom. That's me beatboxing, by the way. And as you can see here, I'm using the top bit of my brush, and what that does, I'm going to do it slowly. That's the type of mark that my brush is making, and I'm just adding them, and I'm not going really hard because I want some of those little blue bits to still shine through, especially here on the outer sides of my leaves. All right, so I'll show you here again, and you're just going to tap, 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 tap around there. And you see here on the outer sides, that's where we want some of that blue of the sky still coming through. And this just creates that lovely leafy look. So we're gonna go boom, 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 and you can go over some of your trees because leaves are just everywhere. And we're tapping there, oh sorry, let me use my left hand so you can see. We're tapping there in the corner. And even here, a little bit in between your trees, softly, you can add some leaves over there. So we have a little bit of our branches shining through still, which is lovely. And the closer you get to your trees, the softer you're going to tap. And your big trees, you don't want to actually go over them with leaves, because they're in your foreground. All right, so that is your mid-tone, and you see already there, your picture has come together. But now we really want to make these trees pop. So important to rinse your strings. No?
But my picture looks nothing like yours, and my camera doesn't work, so I can't even show you.
Oh no! Can you explain a little bit what is bothering you?
It doesn't look like a forest, it looks like a bush.
Maybe that is because your leaves are too low. That would be the reason why it looks like a bush, but bushes are pretty cool too, you know. So if it looks like a bush, it could possibly be because your leaves are too low. So all you need to do is just add more what's the stems? Is that the
trunks?
Trunks, the tree trunks. Just define your tree trunks going a bit higher and stronger.
I'm happy that I'm
I like the bushy idea.
like today's hairstyle.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just rinsing my brush, making sure all that light color is out of it, because we're going to move into a darker color. Okay, so still the big brush and mixing in your dark green into your brush. Get a lot of green into that brush, so back and forth, there we go. Okay, nice, full of that dark green. And now you can tap it a bit there on your palette so that it gives you that shape, as you can see there. And this is much less. So this is where less is more, all right? And just here and there, you're gonna add a few shadows of the leaves. Okay, and like that. So softly, much softer than before, and we're gonna grab more paint and oops. See, that's what happens if you don't tap it on your canvas first, so on your palette first. So please tap it on your palette so that it makes those curves, and just here and there, softly tap a few darker bits, and I'm mixing it in again and tapping it. And what you can also do is, I feel like my paint is a little bit sticky at the moment, so I'm just adding some water to that. And let's see if that works a bit better. There we go. So softly, just here and there, and not too much into the background. We want more of those shadows here in the foreground, and that's what we're creating now, is we're creating more shadowy bits. So do you see what a difference that already makes if you look to the right-hand side, that what I've done already, and our left-hand side? And just here and there, that's what you want. Okay, so tapping on my palette, making that lovely shape over there. And just here and there, adding a few more shadows. And as I mentioned on this side, the closer you get to your trees in the background, the less shadows they have. And also the less green you will put down. Maybe bring some in there. Okay. And the closer you get to your foreground, the more shadows you can add. Also in between your in between your trees. Like that. All right. Any questions?
Nope, all good.
Okay. So once again, rinsing my brush, making sure that color is off, because we're moving into a lighter color now and we don't want to darken it up. All right. Now we're going to move into our light green that we've mixed. And also just first tap it a bit like that. If you have open space either on your palette or on your box, you can also just tap it out. There we go. To give it that shape again. And then just here and there, very subtly on your canvas, you're going to bring in some lighter bits. And that would be where the light hits. So there will be more of that in towards the middle of your canvas and less of that towards the side. So especially in those areas, you'll bring some of those highlights out. And once again, here you can see the difference that makes between our right-hand side and our left-hand side. And we're just going to bring some of those in here, add them where the light hits, just here and there, tap, tap, tap away. Okay. So I know you are also a little bit busy with this, but just for those that are a bit quicker and want to maybe bring in some purple bits into their trees, it's not necessary at all. Your trees are actually done at this point. But I feel like I just want to pick up some of the purple we've got down here and the purple we've got on our trunks. Just here and there, like minimal bits. So I'm just tapping that onto my purple and literally just here and there, I want to bring some of that purple in to my leaves very softly, even less than I did with the light bits. Okay, so just there, and going further into that middle ground over there, also not necessary, but if you're at this point, to just take some of that lighter green in and add that into the background to let your trees fade out into the background. Okay, any questions? How's everyone? Are you guys on par?
Sure, it is like the light at the end of the tunnel. We are absolutely seconds away, guys. How's everyone feeling about their forests? I'm sure they're lovely, but you're all just very hard on yourselves.
Yeah.
We're all our worst critics.
Definitely.
Hold your pieces up. Let's take a look. Faiza, that's beautiful. Your floor's lovely. Samantha, I have no idea what you're worried about. Yours looks like quite pro, actually. Samira, gorgeous.
Like you say, we're all our worst critic.
Yeah, it's true.
Her name is Kim.
Oh, Kim. So you see, this is why I'm saying change your name. Your thing says Samira, and I'm calling you Samira. Sorry, Kim. Yours looks lovely. Nazo, your painting is gorgeous. I love it.
Lovely, yes. Nice Letitia, and I saw Dirk's one is also looking good, and Fernando looking good. And yeah, man, all of you guys
looking great. Melissa's as well.
Oh, Azam. Nice. I
Oh,
like it.
lovely.
Very whimsical.
Azam, that is gorgeous. That is so expressive. I love that. Oh,
this is a really nice opportunity for everyone to see everyone else's paintings as well.
Sid, mine's avocado
also
trees.
looking great. Well done, Claudia.
And Lindy looking good.
Yeah, Lindy, lovely.
Nice. Lovely, lovely. So I do see on some of your paintings, you can actually still add a little bit more of your darker green or even like a bluey color, just here and there to give your leaves those shadows and just pull them out, you know, and give them a little bit more definition if you guys like, but it's really looking good.
Well done, Desney. Looking good.
Lily, those blue highlights, does it matter where they go?
The darker bits that I spoke about now.
No, I've got light blue on the leaves.
Oh, no, you want to go dark blue or dark green?
Okay.
Yeah, so you want to use try and just mix a really dark color. So I would either take blue and just add a tiny bit of yellow to that and get like a nice dark color that I'm mixing here now. And what you want to add is just here and there. You actually want to give some of your leaves just a bit of a shadow, you know? And that's what I'm doing here now, especially the leaves in your foreground. So in this area, you just want to pull that out a little bit like that. There we go. Thanks for asking.
All right, lovely. So we have our final step, I think, of our little people. How does everyone feel? Thumbs up if you feel that you are ready for the peeps. Yeah, the tiny little peeps in the background. Nice, Jamia, your piece looks gorgeous.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most people are ready to go onto the...
Cool. So basically we've got most of our forest done. Well, we've got a whole forest done actually. And now what I usually add is just two little tiny people also fading away into the background. And they're really small. I mean, they are probably as big as my pinky nail. All right, so they are tiny. And I'm going to show you in this picture. I don't know if you can even see them, but they're just over there. All right. So it's like super small. And for this, you need to use your smallest brush. also, if you don't want to put people down there, you don't have to. Then you're basically done. We'll get to the very last step after I put the people in. But so over here, for the people that want to put in the 2 little humans over here, this is just a big size of what it should look like. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to paint one next to it with a bigger brush so that you can see. So I'm using a really light, either really, really light purple or really, really light blue. So that's a lot of white with just a tad of blue, or a lot of white with a tad of rose and a tad of blue to get your purple. Or just use the colors that we've mixed before. If you've mixed the purple there, just add more white, create a new puddle and add some more white to that as well. So lots of white to that, even more than I've done there. So it needs to be as light as this color. And the reason why we are doing it that light is because everything there in our background, in the middle of our canvas, is these milky colors, and they are fading away into the background, and we really want these people also just fade away. So I'll be using this lovely light purple that we've mixed here, and as you can see, I'm just adding a bit more water to that to make it nice and runny. Maybe add a drop of that. Okay, and yeah, so that's the color we want. We will be painting just a suggestion of a human, not the actual human. It kind of looks like an eye, you know, but if I can show you, I'm just going to use a darker color so that you can see it as I paint it on this cardboard. The head we start with, and it's an oval, all right? And then the body is actually like the top part of an exclamation mark. So it's a bit wider at the top, and it is more narrow as we go down. And we just fill that in like that. But you're going to use a really tiny brush, and you won't even do as many lines as I'm doing now. Note, I do leave a bit of a space between the head and the body. Your eye, when you paint it as small as we're going to paint it on here, your eye fills that in, and your eye gives you an idea that there is arms coming down the side there and legs there. All right, so this is the ratio that it needs to be. Your head can fit in about 1.5 times into your body. But we're going to do it much smaller. I'm going to do it next to this so that you actually realize how small these little humans have to be. So I'm just going to use this pink so that you can also see the color. So my human needs to be, the head is just a dot that you pull down a little bit. That's my head. And you probably can't see that really well because it's so tiny, okay? Now I leave a little space, and I'm just pulling my brush down like that. So I know you guys can't really see that. I'm just going to show you a version in between those. So I went down with my brush, and I just pulled it down. So I press it at the top there, and I pull it down. And that's how I make a wider area at the top and a thinner area going down to the bottom. That's my body, and my head, just a little dot, and I pull it a bit down like that. Okay, so really, really tiny. This one is about as big as my hand, all right, the big one that I've made. And I mean, this human is just bigger than my pinky nail. Okay, so we are going to do that tiny little human on here. And I'll be using a very, let's do light blue. The reason why I'm using light blue is on my canvas, there's already quite a bit of light purple and green there. So I want to use a color, a different color than I've got already, than I already have there. If you maybe for some reason have more blue there, or then you can rather use a purple color. Okay, so a nice light blue, lots of white, a little bit of blue, and I'm adding some water to that just to make it runny, and once again twirling my brush to make it pointy. There we go, a point there. And now I will try, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to stand up so you guys can see better here. Aha. Okay, so right there, I've got the head. Oh, don't even know if you can see that. But you don't really want to show these people and make them too visible because they have to fade. And that's my little body going down. I think there's a bit of a glare. And we're going to do another one next to him. So I'm making this person a bit taller. So I've got a short person and a tall person. That's his head. And I am just pulling his body down there. Okay. So it's a really tiny, and maybe there you can see them a little bit better. So it's just a suggestion that there's two people walking into the distance, enjoying the forest and the sounds of nature. All right. Anyone need some help or have some questions about these humans?
Like those are real stick men. So if you are worried about your painting at this point and it looking like a stick man painting, well, there you have it. You literally just have to do a dot and like an eye thing. Oh, your painting looks so lovely, Lily.
Oh, thank you so much. But I'm really proud of everyone's paintings that I've seen today. Yeah, and how everyone's just gone and made their own mark, and I love the brush strokes and all of your colors, and yeah, it's been really great.
Absolutely.
Lily, do you think it would make sense adding some reddish, pinkish colors to the leaves?
You can definitely. If you would like me, I'm going to show you on this one that's already dry, if you like. So if you want to make it more of an autumny theme, then you can grab, let's say, okay, let's go for some of our red. Grab it just like that. I'm actually going to mix it into this rose, but you don't have to, just because I've run out of space. So you can, once again, do that same style where you were tapping it like that. And we're going to make it a nice autumny tree and just add some red in there. So your red will be your darker tone, and your orange that I'm going to show you now how to mix can be your mid tone, and then the yellow would be the lighter one. So we've got that, and actually right on top of that, while it's still wet, we can add some yellow and even keep that red on your brush. So we're going to add some yellow to that. Ooh, I'm running out of space here. There we go. The yellow bit there. I'm going to tap it like that. So it's already becoming a little bit orange there, but that's good. That's what we want. And just in between those that you've put down there, you work that in. And we've got some more yellow. Whoops. There we go. Right. And then that would be more of the autumn colors. And what I would do then, Jan, is I would pull some of those same colors just here into the foreground. So lightly with your brush, just add. And at the moment, you see there's red and yellows on my brush, which is really nice because it's pulling both of those colors into this bottom at the same time. And we've got this very vibrant feeling to it. So it'll look something like that. But I'm so happy you asked that. Thank you so much. Because I actually really wanted to show you guys that on this. So well done.
Well, thanks.
Cool. Yes. And if you're doing this more autumny color, just once again, the same that we did with the lighter green on the edges here, that's where you would have more yellow just there on the edges of your tree. Okay.
Sure, completely transformed. Lovely. Fantastic. I'm not sure how far everyone is from finalizing their pieces. Lily, how are we finished with all the steps from our end?
We are. The last thing that I would just really love everyone to do, and you have to do this part, is please sign your name in the bottom right-hand corner. It can be your initials, it can be just your surname, it can be just your first name, it can be your nickname, but please have a name there. And because that area should be either like a dark blue or a dark green, you can sign it with either your light purple or your light blue, and you can just put down your name like that with your smallest brush. Also, I would suggest mix in some water into your paint and maybe practice it, because I found that people don't know how thick their brush is actually going to write, because it's very difficult to write with a brush like you write with a pen. So if you just want to practice that on your, you see how that's made like a big blob. So just practice that on your box. You can do that as well. And then when you're ready, please paint your name and be proud of your work, because you've all put in a lot of work into creating your artwork, and it's really looking good. I'm impressed with you guys.
They are looking fantastic. And once you guys have signed your name, I'd love everyone to hold up their paintings, because I want to take a screenshot. Wow, Lily, your piece is looking so absolutely incredible. And I mean, you're really just the best teacher ever. Thank you so much for like the amazing instruction. I think I speak on behalf of everyone. You really are so talented. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Alex, and thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you.
Lovely. Give yourselves a round of applause. Woohoo! You actually made it to the other side. Yay, well done. And thank you, Lily.
Oh, such a pleasure. Thanks for having me today. And you can all be really proud of your works. Jana, I actually saw your beautiful orange leaves. It's looking good. And thanks for everyone's enthusiasm and participation. And yes, please feel free to contact me via my website or Instagram if any of you have any questions or just want to say hi.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lily. For the perfectionists out there, I'm sure you'll dabble on your painting for another 4 hours. For everyone else, please display your painting proudly. Thank you to you for choosing our organization and supporting us ultimately. Please follow our platforms. You can find us at Call to Care, www.calltocare.org.za, and find out what we do. We also have a huge amount of volunteering opportunities too, if you want to come and do some community work with us. Fantastic. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm going to play a little jingle in the background for like a few minutes. But yes, enjoy the rest of the evening. Stay warm. Apparently this weekend is beautiful weather. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.